time is now 6:45. Let's call this pension board meeting to order for August 9th. And roll call.
Kathy Kendrick.
Mark Aggie.
Tom Sinkowitz.
Kevin Cunningham. And I did not hear from the Board of Ed Chair, so we'll go forward. Item C, approve meeting minutes from July 26, 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from July 26, 2021.
A second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion is approved. Item D, public comment. Item E, new business, is to consider and act on retirement requests from the school employees. What you have seen so far is a retirement request for 2 individuals from the Board of Education. We'll talk about the first one, which was Lynn Lanzoni. She was looking for a single life pension in the form of payment to be done that way, and the amount would have been $471.90. And that would commence backwards. It commences as of August 1st. August 1st of 2021. And Tom, you have the papers in front of you. Do you have any total years experience there for Lynn?
Lynn is date of hire 8/17/2000 to 6/18/2021.
It says on the right side how many years.
Yeah, 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Having reviewed all the material, do I hear a motion to approve the pension request for Lynn Lanzoni for a single life pension form of payment in the amount of $471.90 to commence as of August 1st, 2021?
I'll make a motion.
A second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Second request is also for a member of the Board of Education who is looking to have an approval for their pension request, is Kathleen Martell, also for single life pension form of payment in the amount of $129.58, also to commence August 1st of 2021. I think she had 9 years of service.
9.
That's correct.
So I'll make a motion to approve the single life pension of $129.58 for Kathleen Martell to begin on August 2021.
A motion, do we hear a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We have no other business at this time, so I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, the time is now 7 o'clock. I'd like to call this Board of Selectmen meeting to order for August 9th and ask that you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And now for roll call.
Mark Aggie.
Kathy Kendrick.
Kevin Cunningham. And item C, to approve meeting minutes for 7/26/21.
I only had one question. The July 28th meeting, special meeting. Do we have minutes for that?
I'm sure we do by now. We'll bring that up in the next
Next
meeting.
one.
Did I do it?
I did it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can add it to the next
Yep.
agenda.
Yeah, that's the next meeting.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for 7/26/21.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item D, public comment. Anybody from the public wish to make a comment? Okay, hearing none. Old business. It says to discuss and act on setting a date for public hearing for the affordable housing. The wording should be, is is that we're looking to change the date when we had on the 4th. We had to cancel that, so I'd entertain a motion to set a date for the public informational meeting. A public informational meeting for affordable housing will be held on Wednesday, August 25th at 7 p.m.
I'll make a motion to set a date for the public informational hearing for affordable housing on 8/25 at 7 p.m. Town Hall.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Thank you. Item F is new business, and that is item 1, to consider and act on tax refunds as requested by the tax collector, totaling $278.82 as follows. Jeremy L. Cassell, $14.48. Betty A. Daly, $188.34. Paul B. Gaddu, $11.59. Robert A. Hanson, $27.73. Albert J. Langlois, $16.71. Gary R. Lupert, $19.97. Grand total, $278.82.
I'll make a motion to approve the tax refunds, $278.82.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 2 is discuss and act on the dispersion of America Cares American Recovery Act monies. When I put your packet together, we were still working on some of the final details for some of the programs, and I would ask if you have read through the first part of it, you would see that there is just the overview. The overview of the town of Plainfield that we're looking to receive is approximately $4,476,000 for these programs. They're very specific about how you can use them, so we have to be very careful on how we appropriate the monies. And while we reviewed the acceptable uses, what I'm proposing is listed on that sheet. And then the second page is actually talking about the acceptable use of those funds for local government under the American Rescue Plan. What you have listed in front of you is something that I sat down with Kelly. We reviewed a lot of those needs, and we also sat down with the WPCA, Stephanie, to review her needs. And so she gave us a list of items that need to be fixed or replaced. I'll go through those. What I'd like to do is, if we do vote on some of these items to go forward, at least give you an idea of what they're for and why. WPCA approximately $3.250, so $3,250,000 for the items that need to be upgraded and prioritize those wastewater facilities for their improvements. The analysis was done by Fuss and O'Neill, and we've added a few other items on here that need to be done. There is a new 335 kilowatt generator for the north plant, a new secondary tank for the north plant, refurbishing of 2 existing secondary tanks at the north plant, new generator at Cemetery Road Pump Station, new roof at the sludge handling building at the north plant, new generator at the DOT pump station, add a generator and replace the rusty dry well at the dog track pump station, install a emissions monitoring SCADA at all pump stations. What that is, it really does help them out, because if there's a failure, this will automatically alarm them so they know what's going on. So they don't have to go running back and forth to see what's happening. The new boiler at the north plant and a sludge handling building, an exhaust fan at the north plant, and a GIS data collection updates. That will help them tremendously for the GIS updates, because it will tell you what street has a line going down it and where each of the manhole covers would be. So that does help them if they have to go out immediately and find something instead of searching for it. Plus it's on a map, so we know exactly where things are. So that would be for the WPCA. Next item up, you would see that we appropriate approximately $50,000 due to loss of revenue and jobs for an upgrade to playground equipment at the Lions Park. Next item on there is economic development for approximately $250,000. It's creation of a small business revolving loan fund to be administered by Jordan and Kelly for eligibility and to be reviewed by the Economic Development Committee for their approval. This is something that Kathy, you brought up before. I thought it was a good idea, because we haven't had this for a while. We don't have accessibility to help people out in times of need, and that's what this money is specifically earmarked for. So I thought that was a great idea. We can utilize the Economic Development Commission, because in the past it's always been an attorney who helps to make sure a bank to vet out to make sure they have a background and qualifications. So these things are definitely be helpful. Jordan was in the process of putting together what you see in your packet, which is a review of how you apply for, what is the qualifications, and so I think that's something that still has to be fine-tuned, but I think it's pretty close. The next one up is the hardship, housing hardship, which is approximately $100,000. We're trying to get a low-interest lien loan to be administered by Jordan and Kelly again for eligibility, similar to the rehab from HUD. It's something that, again, with people who've been through some major hardships in their life, would help them out to, redo a roof or something like that if they haven't had a job due to COVID, disability issues. So there's something that could help them out as well. The last couple that you'll see on there are items that I put on there for nonprofit, approximately totaling $75,000, and that is financial services, $50,000 to support the services that they provide for the Plainfield families that have suffered throughout the pandemic. And basically, it also helps the police because of their crisis intervention. They don't go through issues all the time, and they do a lot of support for the police, and they've done that for many years. So I think this is an excellent item that actually still falls within the provisions of the acceptable use of funds. And the final one is for Project PIN for $25,000, because there are a lot of people with financial hardships, and it increases through the pandemic. So it is important to remember those people. So this is what we proposed. Jordan, I think you can take a look at that other grouping. Jordan went through and put together something for us, which I think is very helpful. It's a draft format right now. It needs to be a little bit fine-tuned on the numbers, and we still have to sit down with Kelly to make sure that those will work out for the numbers. And I think that this is something that we can do to help out not only the sewer department to help out with infrastructure updates, but also help out a lot of the areas that we need. So, just wanted your thoughts on this and chat.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
So I guess when we talk about the nonprofit, there's a couple that I thought of that I think United Services, you're right, in Project PIN, but I also think the land bank, because it's a nonprofit, and I think that benefits the town. And being new, the land bank, they are looking for funding for that. And again, that's going to help to clean up the blighted mills and stuff. So if you read through and see if that's feasible, I think that would be another great nonprofit.
Okay.
And then veterans, if there's anything that can be done to help the veterans, I think that's really important. Any amount, I know that the Veterans Coffee House is nonprofit now, so I think that would be great.
Okay. I agree with you on both of those. Now I'll tell you the good news. After you add up all of this, there's still $800,000. So we wanted to hold that back for suggestions like this, or other things that come up. If we find out that the sewer needs more money because of whatever, it's there and it's available. So I would like to do this if that's, I'm sorry, you had some questions or comments?
Well, I was just going over the numbers.
Yep.
And it's like on WPCA's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items that are on capital improvement, which I am totally for. Those came up to $1,015,000. The other ones I'm questioning, GIS, exhaust fan, because I don't have any totals for those.
Right.
The generator at the dog track, the generator at the pump station, and the generator at Cemetery Road come up to $2,235,000. So I'd like a confirmation on that.
Sure.
That's what that's going to be. And with those combined, with everything combined, it's $3,725,000. So that's a remainder of $751,000.
Each of those, so I can get you those numbers.
Yeah, the other ones I went off the capital improvement numbers.
Right.
What they had on the capital improvement.
Unfortunately, with capital improvement, it changes on a regular basis because the longer we wait on something to happen, the more it costs later on.
Sure.
So the worst example, I'll use that word. The worst example is for the Board of Education trying to do the HVAC systems in both the Plainfield Memorial and Central School. 20 years ago that was thought of, and 20 years ago it was much, much less than what it is now. So the longer we wait on some of these items, the more it's going to be for cost. But I can get you the details of each one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, will that make the difference on the 750 that you have left over?
Right.
If it's needed there, than these other two land bank veterans. And as far as that's concerned, I don't agree with the veterans. I know there's more nonprofits in town. So I think we're stretching if we go, I just think we're stretching.
I guess it would-
I'm a veteran too, but I'm just like, then who,
I guess it would be how
we would
much,
stop.
and then what the needs are.
Yeah.
So really, I think if we took time to sit down with the land bank and talk about what might be available, and make sure that it falls within this, and look at the numbers, maybe we can come back at the next meeting for those, and possibly vote for some of these tonight. Does that give you a start?
Could I just make a little comment about the GIS?
Yes.
That would also be helpful with the MS4 requirements that we're
Right.
now under.
Right.
So that would be beneficial in two rounds.
When we talked about that, we had a meeting with the GIS company coming in, talking, well, not company, but we had a GIS overview, so what we can do to upgrade our GIS to help us all out. And that was one of the things that was mentioned during the meeting, by the way, which was a collection of that data, which would give easier access for all of that department stuff.
And when it comes to WPCA, they are pretty outdated, their equipment and all of their stuff. So I think it would only benefit the town to put some money into it.
Absolutely.
Oh, I don't mind, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Michael Black from 25 Putnam Road. I noticed since I spent a lot of time walking out there, the high school track, the black one, is part of the brand new high school, is deteriorating seriously on the south end. Base the scoreboard, base the scoreboard, from that, and look at that area, that's whatever it's called, rubber, and about, and Art said that towards the old annex, it's especially bad. They did some repair work on it maybe 3 years ago, but it is totally insufficient, and those cracks are getting bigger. Apparently, there's no money in the school budget to take care of it. And you mentioned some municipal funds you have available. I don't know if you can apply them to school board priorities and prerogatives, but something really should be done, if it has to be done, to save that track, because that is an adornment to our town. As we all know, many, many schools from all over Connecticut and other states too, I guess, come to have track meets on that track. And so it's definitely worth looking at if someone could do that.
It's a great point. Unfortunately, for the American Cares Recovery Act, can't be something you utilize for that. Just a quick overview of what they use it for, and these are the 4 categories. The monies that are acceptable is for public health emergencies responding to COVID-19 or negative economic impact, including assistance to households, small business, nonprofits, or aid to impacted industries such as tourism, travel, and hospitality. That's how they categorize the first group. The second group comes into workers performing essential duties during COVID-19, public health emergency for providing premium pay to eligible workers in local government that are performing such essential work, or providing grants to eligible employees that have eligible workers who perform that essential work. That's the second category. The third is for the provision of the government services to extend the reduction in revenue to such local government due to COVID-19, public health emergency relative to revenues collected in the most recent fiscal year during that prior emergency. That's number 3. The fourth one I think is going to pop right up here. It's going to say it's a necessary investments in water, sewer, broadband infrastructure. Local governments cannot use the funds for deposits into a pension fund. In addition, they can't be used directly or indirectly to offset a tax cut. So it unfortunately doesn't help with the school, but I hear your point loud and clear. So,
One thing, though, that you have to take into consideration by using this money from the American CARES Act, a lot of these items are on our capital plan. So by using this money, it does free up other money in the town that
Absolutely.
you would be able to do other projects that we may not be able to do.
it's a long list of items on that capital improvement that have been waiting for years. Some of these things we can take care of, thank goodness, and so that's what we're trying to do here. Tom?
I would also just mention for the record that this past budget season, the track was discussed at the budget workshop of the Board of Education, and it came up at one of the Board of Finance meetings. Didn't mean that it got all the necessary money they wanted for it, but at least it's something that they have taken into consideration since they did that work for years ago.
So again, a great point. I would sorry to say the best thing to you, Mr. Clark, would be to go to the Board of Education meeting to put your plea out there and see what they are able to do for you.
So just some questions on the different programs.
Sure.
One of my questions is, will it be based on first come, first served until the money is depleted?
Yeah, yeah. So it basically, oh, I'm sorry.
And the loan amounts and the interest, but I see that you're working on that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that concerns me is a program manager, because if you do the CDBG program, there's a program manager who has many years' experience at that. So who would be the person that actually goes into the homes to do the inspection on those homes? To know that that work really needs to be done. And my second question would be, I know it goes out to bid. Would there be a team or a committee made up? Because it's important that you make sure that the contractors that go in there are
License.
yes.
Yeah. That's how the bid would go out.
So that's my concerns about that. You're going into someone else's home, they're borrowing money from the town. I would want to make sure that there's a program manager that is experienced in that.
Yes. So I do know, I have spoken with the gentleman who handles the program manager that we contract with. And I'm also going to be doing the training in September and October.
That training, though, is that just to handle the grant? It's not to handle the work in the homes? That's just to handle the grant, to make sure the grant is being funded right and that you're keeping the records straight?
Yeah, so I still am looking into that more. Obviously, I'm going to have to talk with Mary Ann and kind of figure out where to go from there. To your first question, it would be first come, first serve. It's going to, I think, look very similar to the current program. The big issue with that is there's no current funding, so that's why we're thinking of doing this.
And then I know with the housing, that you said the economic development would make the decision on the applications. How would the business end? Who would actually be the decision-making person when it comes to the business part of the program?
The business side, that would be the economic development, not the housing.
So who would approve the housing?
So the housing, I guess that would come to you folks, I guess, or economic development. We got to really weigh those options.
I thought we were still looking to have a committee put together, and I think that should be coming from also our building inspectors, because they're the ones who are working with that.
Yes.
And I think the other one, the economic development for businesses, definitely goes back into the EDC role, vetting them out and giving approval through that.
Right, yeah.
So these are still work in progress, and
Right.
yeah.
There's a lot of questions.
Kathy,
So-
as far as the contractors going into the home, I believe that's the bid process anyway.
No, that's what I said, but as we all know, that sometimes those bid processes don't work out.
They're supposed to be
Like that.
licensed,
So,
sure.
I just want to make sure that that money is going to be used the way it should be used and that the right people are doing the job.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We're going to figure out a real solid plan for vetting and things like that. And yeah, just make sure that it's set up. It's still very, very early. I only really got to work on this starting last week, so we have a couple months to kind of get it together.
So when is the funding actually available?
Now, we did receive $2.2 million already,
Okay.
and they anticipate the other portion of it coming in soon. So that's why I would like to be able to, if you want to hold off on the WPCA, so we can hold off on that and get the numbers, so you can get a clear view of what each item is going to be going for. There is, obviously, the recreation is looking to do the upgrade of the playground equipment with the Lions Park. I was shocked to see how much money that cost to do an upgrade for a playground.
Is that like a new playscape and stuff?
Yeah, we're looking at fixing up what we have for the newer stuff, but also putting more items in.
No, that, you could go over that.
Oh, yeah, easily, but we also have some, as a matter of fact, on the 16th, we're looking to meet with the bike group that actually ran the program for Bike Night, and they're going to make a donation as well.
Nice.
So it'll help out to know that. I also asked Renee Tolbert to come into the meeting because I want to make sure that when we talk about this playground equipment, it also incorporates special need usage, so that it's some more sensory items.
Nice.
So that really kind of rounds out that playground area. So at this point, I guess we would hold off on WPCA, waiting for the final, drafts of our economic development for the 250, waiting on the final drafts of the housing hardship for the 100. But I would, and also we'll continue on with discussion for land bank and/or veterans to the next meeting. Once we sit down with land bank and talk about what items might be appropriate. But I would ask that you would at least consider the recreation, United Services, Project Penfield, what is anticipated for their portions of recovery monies.
I'll make a motion to approve housing for the American Cares and American Recovery monies for the recreation appropriation and for the nonprofit appropriations.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Other than thank you for listening to the whole program, because I think there's a lot of...
Yeah, there's a lot of information.
Yep. Hearing that, with a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Excellent. I would ask just for one more item to be added. Item number 3, consider an act on adding a member to the Conservation Commission. Have a motion to add that on.
Make that motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor say aye. And so item number 3, after I made this all out for the agenda, did receive it in your packet. You'll see that I just gave you the request for someone to come back onto the Conservation Commission. So this person is Sue Hall. She put a letter of interest to join Plainfield Conservation Commission and previous member for 11 years. She was very interested in this because of the new purchase of the open space. So she wanted to make sure she could help out with that. So she is a Republican, and I know we had 2 people who were on before because they weren't coming. We took them off. One of them is a Republican, so that would be adding a person to that spot right there.
So I'll make a motion to add Susan Blow back on to the Plainfield Conservation Commission.
I'll second that.
What would her term be, Kevin?
I will look that up, but I think that is a 2-year term. Because they all stagger, so I think that was the 2. Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 And I will verify the term is for her. Anything for other? I know we had a very busy weekend. We had the fireworks, we had the Celebrate Plainfield Day, we had the DJ Parade. Everything went off very well, and I appreciate all of the hard work that the groups put that all together, so that came out very well. The other items we do have coming up, just for interest, September 11th is the annual Inclusive Yard Sale, and we are still finalizing the final steps of October 9th and 10th. There's a food truck group that wants to utilize the Lions Park between 30 and 40 trucks. Anticipate that. They anticipate music with a live band. There's also, we'll be looking to our recreation department to do something for the children, so that there's some activities for them as well. Again, that's 9th and 10th of October. If you look, it's Columbus Day weekend. It's from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. both days. So we're doing the finalizing of that. Unless there's anything else.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
And a motion made in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.